Hello everyone, it's Nick Peters here with the Gaming Theologian channel. Let's do our intro. Okay, so right now it looks like still don't have sound on the Switch side. Don't know why, but I've got a link in the description here of this episode where I've been on the TC Cannon show True Comfort talking about the subject of divorce and being on the spectrum and surviving divorce. And so I wanted to talk some about how that is today. Although definitely listen to the interview because TC asked me questions that I think were very good ones. And you can really get to hear the kind of interaction that takes place that way. So, anyway, divorce, it it really hurts a man like nothing else does. There's no comparison out there whatsoever to what divorce does to someone. And a large problem in our culture today is divorce is really too easy to do. Imagine what it would be if we had a society where we made business contracts, but if someone wanted to break the contract for whatever reason, the state would automatically take the side of the person who wanted to break the contract. Well, aside from marriage being a covenant instead of a contract, as I see it at least, that's what our society is like today. Where, because really that's where the next generation comes from, with children being connected to a mother and a father. This is what they need. And yet, the state in this situation says, nah. I still can't make any sense out of that. Now, in my case, I'm going to tell you that I don't think for a minute my ex-wife had any grounds, really, for divorce. And I don't want to go into specifics, but plenty of people said I did. I even remember talking with someone at the time who told me that I could get a divorce and it would be a godly decision, even. And this was someone coming from a very religious perspective at that. Or I could stay in my marriage and be a martyr in it. Well, I chose martyrdom because I believed marriage should be kept till death do us part generally. Yes, I do realize there are exceptional cases, cases of infidelity and abuse and any number of things that can change that. And yeah, my controller is jamming to the left way too much. I would have thought there would have been some way to get down into that area there. I'm just experimenting here. But I went to see a therapist, and when I described to him what was going on, I think couples today talk about divorce way too easily. But it happened, and it was devastating because what it is, it's practically being told that you are so bad that the other person wants to get away from you no matter what. I mean, when you get married, what they say is, I can't picture a life without you. And divorce has them saying, I can't picture a life with you. How do you go from one to the other like that? There's really no easy explanation for it. And even when, no, and once again, I did not ask to go left there that time. Even when divorce can be a necessity, see, I'm not even holding to go left here. I think we should still see divorce as a tragedy. Because what it means is at least one person decided to break their covenant promise like that. Why they did it doesn't necessarily matter. What matters is that they do it. And that should always be considered a tragedy. Because ideally, marriage should be for life. And something's gone very wrong when it isn't. See, divorce, it's been compared to, Peter Crave compared it to a murder-suicide. I had just seen it as a murder until I heard him say that, but then when I heard him describe it from that way, I thought, yeah, he's right. Because you take the one flesh union and you kill it, essentially. You know, I'm really wishing I had an X-ray scope here of some kind. It's a very serious thing to take what has been joined together by God, essentially, and say, I'm going to tear it apart instead. Ultimately, it's rejection through and through, and rejection stings so much. I mean, for me, I was so thankful when I thought I was finally out of a dating game and would never have to be in it again. And yet now here I am in it again, and I hate everything about it. Because it's so much harder in our day and age. Because we live in the era of Me Too, and I choose the bear, and everything else like that. I've been doing a lot of reading on the topic of feminism lately, and it's really one of the most damaging movements to ever come along. To which I think I'm going to go fight Mecha Ridley actually now, because it looks like there's not much else I can do around here. and yet it's rampant everywhere in our society in ways we don't even realize because it's the waters that we swim in. See, being on the spectrum, it's extremely difficult for me to know if maybe a girl is interested in me. Although when I think that, I'm left thinking, uh, yeah, okay. Because usually the idea we're given is the way I've heard it is the number 666, ironically. A guy who's got a six pack, makes six figures, and is 6 feet tall, which automatically rules out a whole lot of men right from the outset. Okay, I suspect what I have to do is beat Mecha Ridley and then come back here to this spot. And that's something I tried to share on the TC Cannon show, was just how much of a struggle it is. How good of a job I did with that, I don't know for sure, but I tried. See, living in an era of no-fault divorce where we've removed the idea of permanency from marriage, and we've made it just like any other relationship. And then we live in the era also of pretty much, let's just say it, free sex, where women give themselves away very easily, sadly, to most any guy who comes along. And women, we say, the sooner that you sleep with a guy, that tells him how much you think you're worth. And generally, he's not going to put forward any more effort after that. I remember years ago when I lived in Georgia, and my now ex-wife and I were part of a church small group, and I was talking with the daughter of some one group. I think it was the person whose house we were at the time, and I was asking. She was in college. Asking her, "Hey, do you have a boyfriend or not?" And she said, "Yeah, I do." I said, "Oh, good. How long you been together?" I said, "Seemed like it had been a while." I says, "So, are you gonna get married soon?" And she says, "Well, I don't know yet, 'cause he says he wants to go off and travel some first, and then come back, and we can get married then." And I'm hearing this, and I've got the red flags going on in my head right now, and I say, "Look, this guy is not interested in you, 'cause if he was really interested in you, he'd say, not only do I want to travel, I want to travel with you." Instead, he's going and saying, "Yeah, I'm going to go off, I'm going to do my thing and have my own fun then. And after that's done, we'll see about what we can do." I said, "You are either his priority or you aren't. And if he is putting you off, you are not his priority." And I think a lot of women are doing this today in the name of a career. Women are putting off some of the best years of her life for especially having children for the sake of a career, which I consider a disastrous move. I think women need to prioritize if they want to get married, because now every woman wants to get married, and that's okay if she doesn't. But if they do want to get married, where first off having children should be a priority, then but after that, they need to do things as soon as they can. If you want to get a career, you can do that later on, but your first priority should be a family, and a good man will help provide, because men by nature are providers. We want to work for the women in our lives and work so they don't have to. That is our goal. That's what we want. We love the thought of you not having to do anything like that. Okay, let's see if I can find some way down here first. But now women, when they do this kind of thing, it's like they're saying, I want an exit ramp. That's why I said recently in a dating group I'm in on Facebook, we said, what do you think when you hear someone describe themselves in a dating profile as an independent woman? And I say it sends up red flags because what they're telling me at that point is they have an exit ramp. And why do I say this about women especially? Because, like it or not, most divorces nowadays are filed by women. But, see, the thing is, I'm in this world again because of rejection. And for a lot of us men, rejection is terrifying. And we need some sort of indication that a woman really is interested in us. Because, believe it or not, ladies, we are not good at understanding flirting. Most men have no clue whatsoever if you are flirting with us. We do not see it. Ooh, did it. Well, this'll help. Gotta defeat any enemies in the area, I think, first, but this will help. Well, it's about time they showed up. And honestly, women, I'd say a lot of guys out there, you really need to kind of be willing to give them a chance. Because you can say men have unrealistic standards, and many of them do. But a lot of us don't. And we are very, very easy to please. It does not take much. Generally, we just want a woman to at least be attractive to us. And you don't even have to be perfectly attractive. Just decent and taking care of yourself. And we want a woman to be feminine. That's not asking a lot. Oh, jeez. So, what I had to do, though, in surviving my divorce is I was very thankful that I had other people that I knew who were men who had been divorced as well. And one piece of advice I got early on was the saying that today sucks. Tomorrow's going to suck too, but it'll suck a little bit less. Okay, I think I might actually have to avoid all these enemies down here, all these lasers for a while, in order to get that energy tank. Which that is going to be a pain. But we're going to try it. So tonight could be a very slow episode then. Then again, I think I might have just found something there. I remember going to a movie theater with a friend who'd also been divorced before, now remarried. And the movie theater happened to be at a mall, and it was at a mall that she and I used to go to a church that met at that movie theater. And being in that environment was really difficult there. Because for me it was like seeing her ghost everywhere. Going to all these places, remembering, oh yeah, we did that together then. Okay, I've got a plan now this time. This is going to be very unusual, but I'm going to try it. And anyway, the thing what I'd always said was being told today sucks. Tomorrow's going to suck, but it's going to suck a little bit less. And generally that's it. It's just every day you had to get up and learn to face the day, to try every single step. Because part of going through divorce is you have to change your whole mindset on things. Because you'd built a life with this one person, and then just like that, it's gone. And it's not coming back at any time soon, at least. And definitely for me, it hasn't. And guys, I'm saying this mainly to guys since I am a man, but women, apply your own standards here if you're listening. But definitely men. And thankfully, this is something I've never had to really struggle with. But don't go the route of pornography. That's a cheap way, because that gives you kind of the feeling of being a man without actually having to be a man. It's not what you want. It won't satisfy. If anything, it makes you less of a man. And that should be the last thing you want, because it's too easy then to say, hey, if I want a woman, I'll just go and click on a random thing on the internet and I'll get a woman that way. I don't have to go out there and risk anything. Which is the point. Since you don't have to risk anything, you never face the challenge that comes with it. This is being very frustrating for me. There's nothing manly about just turning on a computer screen and saying, hey, now I can see a naked woman, woohoo! Yeah, that doesn't require anything of you. And that woman on the screen, she's not trusting you. She doesn't know who you are. She doesn't care about you. She doesn't know you exist. She doesn't know your name. She doesn't love you. Nothing about it is real. And you should want a real woman, not a fake one. Okay, I think I'm starting to learn the secret to doing that. Okay, I think I'm honestly just going to let that one go. Because that was being too much of an annoyance for me. And it'll give me a little bit more of a challenge, but hey, I've never been opposed to a challenge like that. Maybe I can get it on my way out here. Let's see if there's anything I can do with a power bomb here also. The thing is, that is a bit too easy indeed. Uh, if what I said about pornography, don't get me wrong about this. I'm not saying that going without a lady that way is easy. It definitely isn't. But it can't be the end of the world either. Because women are good for much more than physical beauty, and we need to realize that. We need to accept that. If the only reason you care about a woman is about how she looks, the problem is with you in that case. Find things you do every day that you enjoy and just enjoy them. Take Find a support group. Divorce care was extremely helpful for me. Find something like that that works for you. Because one of the last things you want to do, really, is go through this alone. And there are temptations to quit when this happens. I had some. I took nightly medications, and there were times I thought, you could. It wasn't anything long term or anything like that, but temporarily, I understood the temptation, and I always said no. Because you know what? If I did that, where she won then, and I wasn't going to let her win. I wasn't going to let her determine my life for me. So I made a point every day. And I also told myself the best revenge is a life well lived. Because, if you go through life and you live with a chip on your shoulder because you want nothing more than to get revenge on your ex and make her suffer, she wins at that point. She has power over you. I wish for no suffering to come to my ex that does not lead her to repentance. I don't want her to suffer for the sake of suffering. no interest in that whatsoever. What good does it do me? Instead, I made a point to pray for her. Now, I've got to the point where I don't pray anymore for her. Not because I don't care, but because it's kind of realizing that if you keep doing this over and over, you're still carrying her with you, and it doesn't help you. It's not because I don't care about her and her well being, it's because I can't let her determine my life like that. Well, let's see where we go from here. Which is kind of like going through divorce, because you don't know where you're going to go from here very often. Well, that was a very foolish move on that guy's part. Well, I guess that's that. Okay. Now, I do have another game in mind already for next time, and that is where we're going to be eventually talking about Mormonism in there. But if you're a guy and you're going through divorce, I really want you to know you're not alone. And feel free to reach out to me here on this channel and let me know what you're going through. And I'll try and help out if I can. But I definitely encourage you to find yourself a divorce county area. And let me stress again, I only talk to men on this issue. Not because I don't care about the women, but because I am a man. And I believe women should find a woman who's gone down the path of being wrongfully divorced and talk with them as well. Because you don't have to go through this path alone. And you don't have to go to church and put on a face either. It's okay to be miserable. You should be, because you've really lost something. And it does leave a wound. It does leave a hole. I mean, to this day, I still sometimes think there's a big scarlet D that I've got written on me. And wonder if anyone looks at me and thinks, oh, divorced. Well, that's going to be a problem there. To me, it's kind of like if you see a car somewhere that's damaged, like in a parking lot, you usually can assume, well, this person must be a bad driver. You know, maybe they encountered someone who was a bad driver instead. So church also have grace on people who've gone through divorce and be there for them. Okay, let's see how this ends entirely here. I suspect we're going to get a ranking. Yeah, clear time wasn't the best. Collecting items, my rate is 59%. Whoa, I did not collect a lot of things here. But you know what? That was fun. I did enjoy that. Okay, it's fading away. Let's see if we can... Looks like, oh, that is neat. You can play the original Metroid again here, then. And I suppose, let me look and see here. Oh, let me look and, uh, let's just see out of curiosity what would happen if we selected new. Um, nope, nope, that's not what I want. Okay, well, folks, that was a lot of fun. Next time we'll start a new game. I already know what it is. And no, I'm not going to tell you right now. But we'll start it next time. And it's one I really enjoy. Until then, I'm Nick Peters, gaming theologian. I affirm the virgin birth. Please like, comment, share, or subscribe. And please support me on Patreon. Every donor means so much. Link in the description. And